They promised luxury, they promised innovation, they promised financial freedom, and people believed them. Investors handed over billions of dollars, millions of customers trusted them. Some built fake empires, others built billion-dollar illusions. One created a music festival that turned into a disaster. Another wiped out billions of dollars in just a few days. And one man ran the largest Ponzi scheme in history. The media called them visionaries. Their followers called them geniuses. But behind the headlines, behind the promises, and behind the billion-dollar valuations was something very different. These are 5 more people who built billion-dollar lies. Billy McFarland wasn't selling cryptocurrency, he wasn't building a technology company, and he wasn't creating a revolutionary invention. Instead, he sold something much more powerful. He sold a fantasy. In 2017, McFarland launched an event called Fyre Festival. The advertisements looked incredible. Luxury villas, private jets, white sand beaches, supermodels, celebrity influencers. It was marketed as the most exclusive music festival in the world. Millions of people saw the promotion. Thousands bought tickets. Some paid tens of thousands of dollars for VIP experiences. The festival promised luxury, adventure, and an unforgettable experience in the Bahamas. There was only one problem. Almost none of it existed. When guests arrived, they didn't find luxury villas. They found emergency relief tents, construction sites, missing luggage, incomplete facilities, and total chaos. The gourmet meals that had been advertised by influencers became cheap sandwiches served in foam containers. Many of the promised artists never appeared. Basic infrastructure wasn't finished, and people quickly realized they had paid a fortune for a disaster. Within hours, social media exploded. Images from the festival spread around the world. What was supposed to be a luxury experience became one of the biggest public embarrassments in modern business history. Investigators later discovered that Billy McFarland had been misleading investors and customers long before the festival collapsed. The business was built on promises that could never realistically be delivered. In 2018, McFarland pleaded guilty to fraud and was sentenced to prison. The man who promised paradise ended up creating one of the most famous disasters the internet has ever seen. But the next person on this list didn't sell a festival. He convinced investors that office space was worth $47 billion. Adam Neumann didn't invent a revolutionary technology. He didn't build the next Facebook, and he didn't create a groundbreaking product. Instead, he took something incredibly ordinary and convinced investors it would change the world. The business was office space. In 2010, Neumann co-founded a company called WeWork. On the surface, the idea was simple: rent office buildings, redesign them, and lease the space to startups and entrepreneurs. But Adam Neumann wasn't selling office space. He was selling a vision. According to Neumann, WeWork wasn't a real estate company. It was a technology company, a movement, a community, a platform that would transform the way people worked and lived. Investors loved the story. Money poured in from around the world. WeWork expanded at an incredible pace, opening locations across dozens of countries. The company was losing enormous amounts of money, but investors kept funding its growth. At its peak, WeWork was valued at $47 billion. Adam Neumann became a celebrity entrepreneur. He traveled on private jets, purchased luxury homes, and was treated like one of Silicon Valley's brightest visionaries. There was only one problem. The numbers didn't make sense. As the company prepared to go public, investors finally got a closer look at its finances. What they found was alarming. massive losses, questionable business practices, and a company that looked far less revolutionary than it claimed. Almost overnight, confidence disappeared. The planned IPO collapsed. Investors began pulling back, and the valuation that once reached $47 billion fell apart. Adam Neumann was forced out of the company. WeWork's stock eventually crashed, and one of the most celebrated startups in the world became a symbol of Silicon Valley excess. But the next person on this list didn't lose billions because of office space. He helped erase tens of billions of dollars from the cryptocurrency market in just a matter of days. The crypto collapse. Kwon wasn't trying to build another startup. He wasn't renting office space, and he wasn't selling luxury festivals. He was trying to build the future of money. At least that's what investors believed. Kwon was the founder of Terra Labs, the company behind Terra and Luna. Together, the two cryptocurrencies became some of the most talked about projects in the entire crypto industry. Supporters believed they had discovered a revolutionary financial system, a system that could eventually compete with traditional banks. Money flooded in from around the world. Investors bought Luna. Institutions invested millions, and as prices continued to rise, Kwon became one of the biggest stars in crypto. Money flooded in from around the world. Investors bought Luna. Institutions invested millions, and as prices continued to rise, Kwon became one of the biggest stars in crypto. At its peak, the ecosystem was worth tens of billions of dollars. There was only one problem. The entire system depended on trust. Terra's stablecoin was supposed to maintain a fixed value of $1, but unlike traditional stablecoins, it wasn't backed by real dollars sitting in a bank account. Instead, it relied on a complicated mechanism that many critics warned could fail under pressure. For a while, everything seemed fine. Then panic began to spread. Investors started selling. Confidence disappeared, and the system entered a death spiral. Within days, billions of dollars vanished. Luna collapsed, Terra collapsed, and one of the biggest crypto projects in the world effectively ceased to exist. Ordinary investors lost their savings. Some lost everything. The crypto market was thrown into chaos, and regulators around the world began asking how such a disaster had been allowed to happen. As investigators started digging deeper, Kwon became the focus of international investigations. Authorities accused him of misleading investors. Multiple countries launched inquiries, and the man who had once been celebrated as a crypto genius suddenly found himself on the run. Eventually, Kwon was arrested, his empire was gone, and tens of billions of dollars had disappeared with it. But the next person on this list didn't destroy one crypto project. He built one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world, and then watched it collapse almost overnight. The king of crypto. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't look like a billionaire. He didn't wear expensive suits, he didn't drive luxury cars, and he didn't behave like the typical CEO. With messy hair, cargo shorts, and a casual personality, he looked more like a college student than one of the most powerful people in finance. That image helped make him famous. Sam was the founder of FTX, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world. As crypto exploded in popularity, millions of people trusted the platform with their money. Celebrities promoted it, athletes endorsed it. Major investors poured billions into the company. FTX grew at an incredible pace. Stadiums were renamed, partnerships were signed around the world, and Sam Bankman-Fried became one of the richest people on the planet. At one point, his net worth was estimated at more than $20 billion. Then everything started to fall apart. Reports began raising questions about the relationship between FTX and another company controlled by Sam called Alameda Research. As investors looked closer, confidence started to disappear. Customers rushed to withdraw their money. Billions of dollars left the exchange in just a matter of days, and suddenly FTX didn't have enough money to meet customer demands. The company collapsed, the exchange collapsed, and one of the largest names in cryptocurrency filed for bankruptcy almost overnight. Millions of customers were left wondering where their money had gone. Investigators later accused Sam Bankman-Fried of using customer funds to support risky investments and cover massive losses. The man who had testified before Congress appeared on magazine covers and been described as the future of finance was suddenly facing criminal charges. His fortune vanished, his reputation vanished, and the crypto empire he built disappeared with it. Sam Bankman-Fried was eventually convicted on multiple fraud-related charges, and one of the most celebrated entrepreneurs in the world became one of the biggest scandals in financial history. But even Sam Bankman-Fried wasn't responsible for the largest financial fraud on this list. That title belongs to one man, a man who stole billions of dollars over decades and fooled some of the smartest investors in the world. The biggest lie ever sold. Bernie Madoff didn't need flashy advertisements. He didn't promise a revolutionary technology. He didn't sell cryptocurrency, and he didn't need celebrity influencers. What made Bernie Madoff different was something far more dangerous. People trusted him. For decades, Madoff built a reputation as one of the most respected figures on Wall Street. He was a successful investor, a market expert, a financial insider. Clients believed their money was safe in his hands. The numbers seemed incredible. Year after year, investors received steady returns. When markets rose, Madoff made money. When markets crashed, Madoff somehow still made money. Almost nobody asked how. Wealthy families invested with him. Celebrities invested with him. Charities invested with him. Even professional investors trusted him with billions of dollars. And that trust became the foundation of one of the largest frauds in human history. The secret was devastatingly simple. There were no extraordinary investment strategies. There were no miraculous returns, and there was no financial genius hiding behind the curtain. It was a lie, a giant Ponzi scheme. New investors' money was used to pay old investors. As long as new money kept flowing in, the illusion survived, and for years, almost nobody realized what was happening. The fraud continued for decades. Not months, not years, decades. Then came the financial crisis of 2008. Investors panicked, people wanted their money back, and suddenly the machine stopped working. There wasn't enough money to cover the withdrawals, because the money had never really been there. The empire collapsed. Investigators uncovered an estimated $65 billion fraud, one of the largest financial crimes ever recorded. Families lost their savings, retirements disappeared, charities collapsed, lives were destroyed. Bernie Madoff was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to 150 years in prison. The man who spent decades pretending to be a financial genius became the face of financial fraud itself. Martin Shkreli fooled investors. Trevor Milton fooled shareholders. Jordan Belfort fooled customers. Elizabeth Holmes fooled Silicon Valley. Ruja Ignatova fooled the world. Billy McFarland sold a fantasy. Adam Neumann sold a vision. Kwon sold trust. Sam Bankman-Fried sold confidence. But Bernie Madoff sold something even more powerful. He sold certainty, and billions of dollars disappeared because people believed him. These were the people who built billion-dollar lies. If this video shocked you, subscribe for more stories about the biggest business scams in history. And let me know in the comments which one surprised you the most.